MLB.com has just released their updated list of the top 100 prospects in all of baseball, and here are the top 10. We'll start at number 10. 18-year-old Venezuelan right-handed outfielder Jackson Chourio of the Milwaukee Brewers. Jackson's a slim 6'1" and currently weighs a meek 165 pounds and has quite a bit of physical development ahead of him. He has been described as one of the, quote, tooliest players in the minor leagues and is widely regarded as the biggest breakout prospect star of the 2022 season. Last year, Chourio progressed all the way from low A ball to double A. He hit very well in A ball, low and high, posting an average of 300 and OPS over 900, 21 home runs, 71 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases across 93 games. He was called up to double A toward the end of the season, but only played in 6 games. In addition to his skill with the bat, Chourio has great speed and is a phenomenal defender, and while he was signed as a shortstop, he appears to be more on track to play center field. If there is a single flaw in his game, it's his strikeout rate. He's shown that he is prone to swing and missing at pitches breaking away from the plate. However, Jackson has shown that he has the ability to make adjustments at the plate, and those swing and misses should start to fall going forward. Remember, he's only 18. Jackson will likely start the 2023 season in Double-A, and if he keeps playing like he has been, we should see him make his big league debut in 2024. Number 9. Right-handed Miami Marlins pitcher Eury Perez. Eury is the 9 overall prospect, but is the 2 overall pitching prospect on the list at only 19 years old. To put it bluntly, he is a giant out there on the bunt, standing a whopping 6 feet 8 inches tall. As of now, he only has 3 pitches in his repertoire that consist of a 4-seam fastball that can touch 98, a mid-80s changeup with some fading movement, and a high 70s curveball that he can locate. Eury Perez is not a finished product by any stretch. Last year, across both levels of A ball, he threw 75 innings with a 3-3 record and ERA just over 4 with a 12.72 K per 9. Since 2019, Eury has grown 4 inches, put on 45 pounds, and increased the velocity on his fastball from the mid-80s to 98 miles per hour. Hopefully, he's able to add a 4th pitch to the mix and improve on his secondaries in general. But overall, the Miami Marlins struck gold with this young pitcher. The Marlins have a ton of great pitchers within their system. Sixto Sanchez, Edward Cabrera, and Max Meyer, to name a few. However, many believe that Eury Perez will be the best out of all of them. He will either start the year in Double-A or Triple-A, depending on how aggressive the Marlins want to be with his development, and we will very likely get our first glimpse in the majors in 2023. 8. 21-year-old Dodgers catcher Diego Cartaya. Diego has been compared to Salvador Perez largely due to his 6'3", 219-pound frame. However, per MLB.com, Cartaya is a much more advanced hitter at this stage than Perez was at this stage of his career. Last year, across low A and high A ball, he finished the season with a .254 batting average with an .892 OPS with 22 homers and 72 RBIs. He's also pretty good behind the plate. He has a very good arm to go with soft hands, which should help with controlling the running game. However, he didn't do an exceptional job at that last season, only throwing out 20% of runners. And he also needs to work on keeping balls in front of him, as he allowed 11 pass balls last season as well. Overall, the Dodgers organization continues to be impressed by his baseball IQ and his ability to call games. It's likely that Cartaya will start the 2023 season with the Dodgers Double-A club. However, that's just my prediction, and due to the fact that Will Smith and Austin Barnes are both under contract through 2025, I don't imagine that there's any real rush as far as getting Cartaya to the majors is concerned. As a baseball fan, I have come to believe that the Dodgers simply make all the right decisions, and there likely isn't a better organization in baseball as far as player development is concerned, so they will bring Cartaya up when he is ready. Plain and simple. I think it's reasonable to expect to see him in a Dodgers uniform sometime in 2024. 7. Boston Red Sox shortstop Marcelo Mayer. Mayer is a slender 6'3" lefty who was just drafted 4th overall in the 2021 draft. When he was drafted, he was both the scout consensus best overall hitter and defender in the draft class. At the time, he was comped to Rangers shortstop Corey Seager. In his 26-game ROK season in 2021, Mayer hit .275 with an .817 OPS, 3 homers, and 17 RBIs. Last year, from low A to high A, Mayer continued on his upward trajectory by hitting a combined .280 with an OPS of .888, 13 homers, and 53 RBIs, and stole 17 bases over 91 games. Being only 19 years old, Mayer certainly has more physical development ahead of him, which will ultimately lead to even more power, but could negatively impact his already, quote, fringy speed. This could ultimately lead him to make the transition from short to third. However, even at third base, it looks like this kid will certainly be a star for the Bo Sox in the coming future. How long will it take? That's still to be determined. He will likely either start the 2023 season in high A, or, if the organization is feeling more aggressive in regard to Mayer's development, he'll start the season in Double A. So, realistically, the earliest we're likely to see Marcelo make his big league debut would be in 2024. But all signs point to Mayer being a top-of-the-lineup bat and a positive defender for Boston for years to come. 6. Third baseman Jordan Walker of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jordan Walker is a big man. He stands 6'5" and weighs 220 pounds. And this guy hits the baseball incredibly hard. He had a max exit velocity of 116.2, which is up with guys like Juan Soto and Javier Baez. And Walker doesn't only hit for power, he also hits for average. Last year, over 119 games in Double A, the 20-year-old righty hit .306 with an OPS just under 900 with 19 home runs and 68 RBIs to go along with 22 stolen bases. That's right. This big dude can also steal bases. While Walker may not get a ton of reps at third base in the near future due to the fact that the Cards currently have some scrub named Nolan Arenado at third, who is pretty decent, Walker can also play in the outfield, which is likely where he'll end up, at least at the beginning of his career. It is worth noting, however, that all reports indicate that from a defense perspective, he is a very solid corner infielder. Personally, I wouldn't have been surprised if Walker was top 3 in MLB's prospect rankings. Walker will likely start the season in AAA, and it won't take long to see him make his major league debut for St. Louis in 2023, and as a baseball fan, I can't wait. 5. Shortstop Anthony Volpe of the New York Yankees. Yes, the Yankees did just re-sign Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, but don't get it twisted. The Yankees certainly believe Volpe is their shortstop of the future, and they will have no problem feeding IKF to the Wolves to get Volpe out there once they feel that he is ready. Anthony Volpe is a blur. His speed is simply out of this world for the game of baseball. Last year, across AA and AAA, Volpe stole 50 bases. Yes, that's right, 50. Slightly contrary to the base-stealing success, Volpe didn't really blow anybody away at the plate. Over 110 games in AA, Volpe hit .251 with a solid .820 OPS, and after being called up to AAA, over 22 games, he finished his stint with a .236 average with a .717 OPS, 3 home runs, and 5 RBIs. Not terrible, but not incredible. Despite not exactly hitting the lights out in the minors, analysts believe that the 21-year-old righty will ultimately be a .280 hitter who hits 20 to 30 homers a year. Hopefully I don't offend anyone, but I think those expectations are a little high. But who knows? The analysts certainly know more than I do. Defensively, Volpe has a quote, "good internal clock" at shortstop, which makes up for his slightly below average arm. Overall, while I certainly believe that Volpe will ultimately be a solid big leaguer and everyday player, I'm concerned about the bat and I'm concerned about his arm. I could see a transition to second base early on in his career as a real possibility. I personally think 5 is a little bit high for Volpe. The 4 overall prospect in baseball and the 1 ranked pitcher is Baltimore's Grayson Rodriguez. Since 2018, the progression through the farm system has been a thing of beauty for the 23-year-old. I'm just going to let the numbers speak for themselves. 2018. ROK League. 0-2 with a 1.4 ERA, 1.24 WHIP, and 9.31 K per 9. 2019. Low 8, 10-4 with a 2.68 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, and 12.35 K per 9. 2021. High A through AA. 9-1 with a 2.36 ERA, 0.83 WHIP, and over 14 K per 9. 2022. High A through AAA. 6-2 with a 2.62 ERA, 0.99 WHIP, and just under 13 K per 9. It's nothing short of unbelievable. Grayson has a 4-pitch mix that includes a fastball that can touch 101 with movement that he can dot the corners with, a mid-80s changeup with some late break, which, when complemented with a 101 mile-per-hour fastball, is devastating for hitters. A+ slider in the mid-80s and a curveball in the low 80s. Grayson is very hard to hit, and frankly, he's very hard to even touch, as evidenced by his insane strikeout rate. His season was shortened last year due to a grade 2 lat strain, but he should be 100% by the start of the 2023 season, and all signs point toward a seamless transition of dominance as he steps foot into the world of big league baseball. I cannot stress enough how bright the future of the Orioles organization looks right now. If you haven't hopped on the Oriole hype train, hop on board. Trust me. 3 is Arizona's left-handed outfielder, Corbin Carroll. Y'all know how in baseball they often use the term 5-tool player. Personally, I think they throw it around too often when it's often not warranted. But those 5 tools that they are referring to are power, defense, speed, hitting ability, and arm. It's actually incredibly rare to find a 5-tool player, and when you do, it's incredibly valuable. This guy in Seattle comes to mind. With all of that being said, Corbin Carroll is truly a 5-tool player. After being called up to play 32 games with the Diamondbacks, Carroll hit .260 with an OPS of .830, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, and stole 2 bases. Analysts project that he will likely be an everyday center fielder who steals 20-plus bases, hits 20 homers, despite being a mere 5'10" and 165 pounds, to go along with a batting average around 300. If I were putting this list together, I would be putting Carroll at 1. Corbin Carroll is special. The 2-ranked overall prospect is a shortstop/third baseman by the name of Gunnar Henderson of the, once again, Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore's 2019 draft will likely go down as the best draft in the franchise history. In the first round, they grabbed some catcher named Adley Rutschman, and in the second, a 6'2" left-handed shortstop named Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar is a fantastic hitter. Last season in AA, Gunnar hit .312 with an astounding 1.025 OPS. Then, once being called up to AAA, he continued to hit. Finally, the O's had no choice but to call him up to the bigs, and he actually managed to play 34 games of Major League Ball. Shockingly, Gunnar didn't seem to have much of a problem at all adjusting to big league pitching. Over those 34 games, Gunnar hit .259 with a .348 OBP, .440 slug, and a .788 OPS. He hit 7 doubles, a triple, and 7 home runs with 18 RBIs. If that were to be scaled over a 162-game season, that is 19 home runs and 86 RBIs. But no, that is not realistic. Remember, this is a 21-year-old kid seeing big league pitching for the first time. Those numbers would likely be much higher. Hitting aside, Gunnar is also an incredible defender. He is actually a former basketball star in addition to baseball, and the athleticism shows on the field. Gunnar, and I quote, has a cannon for an arm and off-the-charts athleticism. There doesn't seem to be any doubt that Henderson can be a solid defensive shortstop for years to come. Many Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, and All-Star appearances are likely ahead for Gunnar Henderson. And finally, per MLB.com, the one prospect in all of baseball is Francisco Alvarez, catcher of the New York Mets. Like I mentioned earlier, I personally would be putting Carroll here, but that is not to take anything away from Alvarez. Alvarez started last season in Double-A and rose all the way to the majors within a matter of months. It was simple. Minor league pitchers could not keep this kid from hitting the ball over the wall. Alvarez hit 27 bombs and 70 RBIs in 2022 before being called up to play 5 games with the Mets. The reality is, it is very hard to find someone who plays catcher who can hit. And not only can Alvarez hit, but he can hit for power. The reason that I don't think Alvarez should have been given the 1 ranking all comes down to his defense. Defensively, at least this point in his development, he's not a very good catcher. Per various sources, the Mets organization is simply, quote, hoping this guy figures out how to play the catcher position effectively, and apparently it seems like the dream that the Mets have for him is that he ultimately becomes an average catcher. With that being said, his bat will be such an asset for the Mets that it will almost certainly outweigh his poor performance behind the plate. Those are the top 10 rated MLB prospects for 2023 per MLB.com. If you got anything out of this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'm just starting this channel, and I would love to continue to create content, so any support would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.